Mass State Police search for a potentially armed suspect. We believe that suspect fled from a car chase. Now, we can tell you that canines, Mass State Police helicopters, and ground patrols are investigating. And as you mentioned, another suspect from that same car chase is already in custody. Of course, this is a developing situation, and we will update you as information becomes available. For now, reporting live from the Canton area, Kimberly Bookman, 7 News.
Also breaking, there's an active death investigation happening in Alston. This is near Brainerd Road. Police blocked off the area with tape for a few hours this morning, and they were working on collecting evidence there. Right now, we are working to gather more details from police, and we will bring you updates as they come in here to the newsroom. Meanwhile, some winter weather moving into Massachusetts today. Here's a look earlier this morning right here in Boston. You see snow falling right onto the train tracks there, and people in Lowell also waking up to some spring snowflakes. You can see flurries in the downtown area there. Right now, things have cleared up, but there could be more snow on the way. Meteorologist Josh Worster is here with the first check of your forecast. Josh.
Yeah, this is the radar loop past 12 hours, backed up over the last 12 hours. There you go. Those are the words I'm trying to say. And you can see a little band of snow, heavy at times, moving in, and a good amount of accumulation for, again, early to mid-April, especially through northern Worcester County, a couple inches in some spots. Now that's been reduced to just a couple of flurries or a sprinkle, and a lot of us enjoying at least some sunshine out there this afternoon. Temperatures right now 30s and 40s, so certainly cooler today. 42 degrees in Boston, 46 in Norwood. Worcester right now 38 degrees. We zoom the radar back out, and we head to the Midwest and the Rocky Mountains. And here's our next system. This one on the way tomorrow night into Saturday morning, and it will again, as it moves into some colder air, start off as snow for a lot of us, all of us, and I think more of us end up with accumulation out of this one than what we woke up to this morning. We'll talk about it in your full forecast.
Josh, thank you. Turning now to the coronavirus emergency, a special tribute taking place right now for a Boston police officer who died from the virus. A procession taking place in honor of Jose Fontanez, the 29-year-old veteran of the force, passing away earlier this week. And here's a live look at the procession right now. Fontanez is being escorted from Boston Medical Center to the Mann and Rogers Funeral Home in Jamaica Plain, and you can see people there and police cars right there on the side of that video. This all happening as Massachusetts once again saw its most deaths in a single day. 151 more deaths reported yesterday, bringing the total to more than 1,000 statewide. There were also more than 1,700 new cases, just shy of 30,000 cases since the outbreak. We have Team 7 coverage beginning with 7's Steve Cooper. He's live in Jamaica Plain to talk more about the procession for Officer Fontanez. Steve?
Right, in a solemn scene here, obviously, on Washington Street in Jamaica Plain this afternoon as we step aside. This is actually sort of the home away from home for Officer Jose Montanez for so long. Officer Fontanez joined the department in 1991, but he was assigned here to E13 back in 1996, so you can imagine he spent a lot of time here, and family and friends and fellow officers are now pausing to pay their respects. You can see Boston police officers wearing their face masks, obviously in the wake of COVID-19, standing here waiting for the procession to stop outside E13. But Officer Fontanez, as you mentioned, 53 years old. He was assigned here to E13. He was a husband, father of 4, and a grandfather to 1. Another member of the department, also, as you know, from E13, Captain John Greenland, was hospitalized but survived his battle with COVID-19. Of course, Officer Fontanez passed away on Tuesday. Commissioner Gross calling Officer Fontanez a great man who fought a valiant and courageous fight against the deadly disease. Officer Fontanez received numerous commendations for his dedicated service over his 3 decades with the Boston Police Department, and he was really highly regarded. We talked to some of the officers here this morning, and they just said he was just part of the community here. He was never looking for headlines. He just enjoyed his job. He enjoyed his community. And, of course, this is hitting home for all these officers who are standing here today, just thinking about the dangers of their job, thinking about what they do every day, coming to work, putting their lives on the line to save others. Officer Fontanez remembered really as a hero by Mayor Marty Walsh earlier this week. The mayor said the officer served the community and stood in harm's way to protect others. He made the ultimate sacrifice, and Boston Police Commissioner Willie Gross said he really talked about their jobs here and what they do. He said, "We are not robotic. we are not immune to this. And he just talked about the sacrifices that Officer Fontenay has made. Again, that procession making its way from Boston Medical Center here past E13 and then on to the funeral home as fellow police officers are standing by this afternoon. We're live in Jamaica Plain. Steve Cooper, 7 News.
Steve, thank you. We'll be checking back with you throughout the hour. The pandemic continuing to lead to record unemployment. According to a new report from the Department of Labor, around 22 million people in the United States have filed for unemployment since the beginning of the crisis. More than 5 million people filing claims last week, including more than 100,000 right here in Massachusetts. Now let's take a look at how it's affecting the stock market right now. The Dow is down about 73 points at this hour. And today, President Trump is expected to share new federal guidelines to ease social distancing restrictions and get the American economy back up and running. 7's Dan Housley is here in our newsroom with more. Dan.
Well, Amaka, moments ago, New York's governor just extended that state's restrictions until at least May 15th. President Trump will be telling states how they can ease restrictions. But even the president is admitting now that the decision ultimately will be made by the states. The White House is about to unveil a roadmap to economic recovery from the coronavirus.
These encouraging developments have put us in a very strong position to finalize guidelines for states on reopening the country.
The Trump administration expected to give benchmarks on how to ease social distancing. But governors have the final word on when and how they'll move their economies forward.
Let's find out where we are. Let's find out the facts, then we'll make a decision. Everyone has been wrong about everything for this entire duration.
Some states neighboring Massachusetts continue to show problems.
We are remaining concerned, and we've been having discussions with Rhode Island. Rhode Island and Providence are in a unique situation.
Rhode Island caught between two major hotspots, New York City and Boston.
They're doing an extraordinary job. They're caring for the individuals in the front lines, but Providence continues to have new cases.
Connecticut's governor says COVID infections and hospitalizations in his state are still on the upswing.
It's going from the southern part of the state towards the northern part of the state. So we got to be careful before we open the door again.
And even when states do reopen, it won't be back to normal. The mayors of New York and Los Angeles say entertainers and pro sports may have to play to empty stadiums in their cities until at least next year.
We've got many, many miles to walk before we're going to be back in those environments. But I hope we can perhaps watch sporting events without audiences on TV. Of course, listen to concerts as we've been doing.
The reality adding to the urgency in Congress as its original $35 billion package of small business loans ran dry Thursday morning. Lawmakers so far unable to come to agreement on adding more money to the program. Small business owners say something has to give.
The bills don't stop between now and then, and the money is rapidly running out.
The first major sporting event to come out of the shutdown may be a PGA golf tournament. The PGA just announced it's rescheduled the tournament in Fort Worth, Texas to now start June 4th. They plan to hold at least 4 tournaments at this time with only golfers, no fans on the course. Live in the newsroom, Dan Housley, 7 News.
Dan, thank you. And we want to take a closer look at the unemployment claims that have reached a record high. According to the Department of Labor, 5.2 million more people filed for unemployment last week. Now, it's less than the previous week, but it brings the nationwide total to a record 22 million claims. More than 100,000 of those claims were filed last week right here in Massachusetts. That's also down. But at the end of March, Massachusetts had the 6th highest number of claims in the country. And some economists fear that the unemployment rate could reach as high as 20% by the end of the month. And Governor Charlie Baker getting emotional when talking about the toll that the virus is taking on families. 7's Michael Yoshida has more on the surge we're seeing here in Massachusetts.
As the number of coronavirus cases and deaths continue to rise here in Massachusetts, Governor Baker urging people not to leave any words unsaid when it comes to speaking with loved ones.
My best friend lost his mom to COVID.
An emotional Governor Baker reacting to the reality of losing loved ones during the pandemic, not being by their side or having the chance to grieve together.
It was an extraordinarily painful process for their family.
Baker says his friend shared things openly with his mother, a lesson for us all.
And even on these goofy phone calls I have with my dad, I try to say more. because you just don't know anymore what the future's going to hold.
Wednesday, Governor Baker announced the Federal Emergency Management Agency is sending Massachusetts 1 million pieces of personal protective gear for hospital workers. And for the first time, the state's COVID-19 website will post weekly data showing the number of positive cases in each city and town. It's a move public health officials resisted until now.
Public health folks are always trying to balance privacy and release of data, but this is really to give all of us information. For me, it's really around identification of potential hotspots.
So far, the Bay State communities with the highest COVID-19 infection rate per 100,000 residents are Chelsea, Brockton, and Randolph. And along with working to bring more personal protective equipment to Massachusetts, Governor Baker says he's also focused on increasing hospital capacity as well as increasing testing for the coronavirus. Reporting in Boston, Michael Yoshida, 7 News.
Happening today, the Quality Inn Revere is opening for people recovering from the virus. The mayor says the building will be a safe place for people who don't need hospital care to quarantine for the next 60 days. Partners MGH will manage and provide on-site medical care for up to 150 patients. And Governor Baker is expected to update the state's response to the coronavirus pandemic in a little bit. That will be happening at 12:30. And when that happens, we will bring it to you live right here on 7 News. We want to go back to that breaking news out of Canton. State police say the armed suspect that was on the run has been arrested. Sky 7 HD over the scene on Turnpike Street earlier this morning. According to state police, that suspect ran away after a chase. You actually can see police arresting the suspect right there with his hands behind his back. Again, another suspect is also in custody. 7 News now to Malden. A wild ride ending in a big crash, a driver slamming into a building. And right now, police are trying to figure out exactly what happened. 7's Carrie Corrado has the latest.
Police say a car hit this building right behind me. It left behind a huge hole. And we spoke with the woman who lives on the top floor.
Went into the building.
A car smashing into a building in Malden. A woman who lives upstairs says she not only heard the loud bang, but she also felt it.
When I heard some crash in the building shake, and I walked very fast, I called the police.
That's when she saw the silver car halfway lodged inside. She says she was worried about the people in the car and the overall structure of the building.
I don't know. I was afraid the building come down, you know.
Police and firefighters rushed to the intersection of Main Street and Cross Street.
Right now it looks like a couple of juveniles were in the vehicle. We have them located. By an eyewitness account, they lost control of the vehicle while making the corner.
Police say thankfully no one was hurt. The car was removed from the building and the building inspector was examining the damage done.
And right now we don't have any real concerns about the integrity or the strength of the building.
Crews spent the day boarding up the big hole, but again, no one was injured. In Malden, Carrie Corrado, 7 News.
Coming up next here on the news station, a paper mill explodes in Maine. The big blast, all caught on camera.
And some of us waking up to snow showers this morning. We get another round Friday night into Saturday morning. We'll have that timeline in your forecast.
And celebrating a milestone birthday while in quarantine the creative way, one young girl's parents made her feel special. We'll be right back.